which we're going to get into your documentary, The Weight of Gold, narrated by 23-time gold medal winner Michael Phelps, which details the serious depression that Olympians face. This idea came from a personal place. Tell us about it. Tell us how this whole thing kind of came together a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, mental health as a subject, I mean, it's something that, so many people, I mean, everybody I know deals with mental health. I think it's the entire term and the vocabulary around it. Like, if you're not dealing with mental health, you're not alive, right? So I think it's fairly recent that it's become this popular subject or buzzword, but I mean, it's certainly something that, I grew up, I did a family tree at one point and looked, many members of my own family have had depression or anxiety. So it was something that is personal. I've had panic attacks myself. I had a panic attack interviewing Jerry Jones, like alone in Cowboy Stadium. That was really scary.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was intense.
One of our quick hitters later was going to be, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on set? But I think we just covered it.
That was intense. Yeah, that was intense. Full-blown panic attack, like while staring Jerry Jones in the eye, like 4 days before the Super Bowl in Dallas, and then like getting through it like white knuckle, and then directing him and his wife giving a tour of the stadium and their art collection, like while my knees are buckling. That was intense.
Crazy.
But The Weight of Gold really started with, I went to this eye doctor here in LA because I have this corneal thing called keratoconus, which is like one in either 200 or 500 people have it. It's like your cornea takes on kind of a conal shape, and you have to get it. If you get it taken care of, it's good, but if you don't, you can actually go blind. And Stephen Holcomb, the captain of the U.S. bobsled team, had actually gone blind from keratoconus, legally blind. I mean, he was still able to drive an Olympic bobsled. In the doctor's office, he had Stephen's book and some different memorabilia, and I just thought it would make a great little short doc. So I had the doctor made an introduction and to his agent and ultimately to Stephen. And when Stephen came to LA for the whole NBC media scrum ahead of the 2018 Winter Olympics, we did a long 3-hour interview. And it was really just going to be a short film. I thought, Under Armour or BMW or one of the other Olympic bobsled sponsors would put it out around the upcoming Winter Olympics. And 12 days after the shoot, we had also gone to dinner in Santa Monica. I got a call from his longtime agent that he had died. He died at the Olympic Training Center. He lived in basically in a dorm room at the Olympic Training Center in Lake Placid, New York, where we had also shot some BRoll earlier. And I didn't know what to do with it. Sitting on a hard drive, and it wasn't the most the most marketable piece of content. Like, hey, I've got this interview with a bobsledder that not many people have heard of, who's dead. But I made some calls. I mean, I spoke to numerous people, and just nobody was all that interested in it, and not surprisingly. And I learned about this post-Olympic depression phenomenon. I read some articles about it and just started to realize how common it was, including, I knew, of course, that Michael Phelps had been speaking out about his own depression in recent years. So I just started reaching out to some of the athletes who either I had relationships with, and reached out to Michael through his longtime agent at Octagon, and started doing some more interviews. And as you see in the film, it's just incredibly common. It wasn't until I did my first interview with Michael, it was in Chicago during a mental health conference that he was doing, where he was, brave enough to share with me that, in his opinion, a lot of the resources for mental health were really lacking, which turned out to be the way a lot of the athletes felt as well.